tifosi! Welcome back to Football Italia Network. I'm Sir Angelo, and this is your Serie A entertainment experience all season long for Serie A. Fiorentina versus Sampdoria, round 3. These two teams kicked off for round 3, the first game for this round, and Sampdoria wins 2-1. Things could have been 2-2, but it was not. Sampdoria, well-deserved win. Both teams came into this game following a loss. Fiorentina lost against Inter's comeback win. Sampdoria, they came into this game losing against Benevento's comeback win. Both teams with bitter taste in their mouth, so they were determined to achieve 3 points today. All right, so how things kicked off? Well, Fiorentina lined up with pretty much the same lineup against Inter Milan, except Frank Ribéry did not play. He was not even on the bench. You could see him on television in the stands, eating his cheese and crackers and sipping on his French wine. Beautiful, beautiful images for Frank. He looks very happy living in Italy, in Florence. Good for him. Good for him. All right, Sampdoria, they lined up with a 4-4-2. Ramirez, when they don't have possession, just back in the field, in the midfield, making it a 4-5-1. But when they have possession, it becomes a 4-4-2. He aligns at that left side with Fabio Correa leading that front line. Candero makes a start. Keita Balde did not start. He's sick, but that is Sampdoria's new signing. Then on the show, we'll get into more of that. So, how things kicked off in the game? Vlahovic, Ribéry's replacement for today's game. Beautiful outside kick right early in the first half. Outside kick with his beautiful left foot. And then saved by Odero. That was a nice opportunity for Fiorentina. And just Odero was right there. He was able to shift and knock that ball off for the corner. Punch it out. Later on in the half, not too long after that, great outside shot. Fiorentina wins a free kick. And during that free kick, Baraghi's on the left. He curves it to the right. Odero, Sampdoria's goalkeeper, would never, ever get there on time. But it drifted wide. That could have made things 1-0. Then after that, Sampdoria were more physical in the midfield. They pressed high up, and they were dispossessing Fiorentina's midfield. Fiorentina's midfield is so-called called the best midfield in Serie A, or the best young midfield, or whatever you want to call it. In Serie A, they're considered a great midfield. But Sampdoria, the Tinkerman, Claudio Ranieri, the Roman Emperor, studied this very well, and they had to outmuscle Fiorentina's midfield. And once they kept on doing that, they did intercept dispossess them with the ball, and then when that occurred, I believe it was Ramirez who dispossessed a midfielder. I think it was, Bonaventura. Ball was dumped to Antonio Candreva on the right wing. And he comes in, crosses the ball right in the box. And guess what happens? Castrovilli. Well, before we get to Castrovilli, it was chaos. Fiorentina's defense in the box was just completely chaos. Candera dumps the ball in. Castrovilli wanted to clear. What does he do? What does Castrovilli do? He turns around and shoots it at his own goal. It hits the crossbar. Then eventually Fiorentina's keeper somehow grabbed the ball. What a mess that was. Fiorentina's defense looked a little fragile today. And that play definitely proved it. And then another chance towards the end of the first half. Candeva crosses effectively to Ramirez. Ramirez alone, one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Ramirez heads the ball right to the goalkeeper. Fiorentina at times we're lucky, like that play. And then 42nd minute, Ciccirini, like against Inter, he cost them a goal. He actually scored a goal, an own goal, in that Fiorentina versus Inter game. In this game against Sampdoria, Candeva, again, quality crosses today. Another one, right to Fabio Quagliarella. And Fabio headed back into the goal. Ciccirini all up in him. He grabs his shirt and he pulls him down. Oh, the ref is not going to see that one. Is he? Is the ref going to see that one? No, I don't think she should either. Penalty! And Fabio, the Neapolitan, stepped up on the penalty and bombs it in. 1-0 Sampdoria. That pretty much ends the first half. In the second half, Sampdoria picked off what they did in the first half. High press, great crosses in. They continue to dispossess Fiorentina. High press. Candeva again. Another opportunity. This time he didn't dump it in. He hit the side of the post. Close one. And then. But as Fiorentina was high pressing them, they give a little bit Fiorentina a little bit of Fiorentina's defenders. Man high line. One of the defenders got the ball. Vlahovic, I think. Passed it to Vlahovic, the striker. Makes things 1-1. And then Fiorentina at that time were believing that, all right, well, let's cool things off here. They're pressing us at 1-1. No, things didn't turn out to be like that. Samp scored a goal from corner. And Thorsby. But the Fiorentina players were saying, oh no, handball. All right, handball. Oh, let me go check VAR. They called VAR. I don't know how they do it. They put the earpiece. VAR. What happened here? Tonali. He touched it with his hand. Oh, okay. No goal. They disallowed the goal because things could have been 2-1 there. And then, the game-winning goal, by the way, ball was dumped into Crotone, eventually came in for Konami. Konami didn't play well again. Fiorentina was looking for a striker, by the way. Anybody know a striker for Fiorentina? Anybody? So, dumped the ball to Crotone. But Oduero, Sampdoria keeper, is intelligent. He moved up. Then he launches a long-distance ball from his goal, a little bit outside the box, right to this young gentleman. And very, very grabs it. Fiorentina goalkeeper, a little bit out. And what does he do? He chips it. In Italy, we call it Polonetto. Polonetto, very 2-1 Samp on top. Then towards the end of the second half, or towards the end of the game, whatever you want to call it, Chiesa could have made things 2-2. Got a through pass, hit the post. He plays on the right wing-back side, hit the post on the left. Goalkeeper Odero completely was never going to get it. That's it. Game ends. Now, Fiorentina, and I want to say, after the game, Ferrero, Sampdoria's president, okay, like I said previously, he's going to make sure that Tinkerman tinkers his team. They're coming in with 2 losses, 0 points in 2 games out of 6 points. Ferrero, after the game, quote, he stated, "See." All right. So what happens now? So Fiorentina goes because of the international break now. Probably the Nations League and a friendly and a couple of Nation League games for most of European countries here. So Fiorentina, they'll go on international break with 3 points in 3 games. Not good. And you could say against Inter, they could have won that game. And against the Samp, they could have tied with that. Chiesa's, when Chiesa hit the woodwork, if it slanted a little bit toward the right, could have made things 2-2. Samp, I think they're more positive out of the two. They come with 3 points, though, as well, but in 3 games. But they look really improved with their additions of Conderva and Keita still to be seen. I think this team's looking good. I think they're a defensive team, so they know how to defend decently. So that's good. Fiorentina, however, on the other side of the spectrum. Let's get into Sampdoria. They signed Keita. He's a striker / winger. It's perfect in Ranieri's 4-4-2 system. They just dump that ball into him. He could make those forward runs. Really good signing. I'm actually surprised that he signed Conderva, of course, even though he was out the door. But for Inter. And Keita, he comes from Monaco. He played in Serie A. He played for Inter, obviously, as well. Had a brief spell there, and he played for Lazio. So, a good signing for Sampdoria. Meanwhile, one of the biggest news in the transfer market in Italy is Federico Chiesa. This could have been his last game for Fiorentina. Juventus are very likely going to sign him. But before they sign Federico Chiesa, they have to sell. And today, they let go Rugani, their defender. He goes to the French league, Rennes, or whatever, to that team. He's going to be sipping the French line instead of the Italian line. It rumored is Kadir might be going. Douglas Costa, Manchester United is interested. Or a bunch of teams. They have to get rid of. They have to sell more. I don't know how many more. They're saying those 2 players, 2 more. I mean, Berdaneski, what about him? I mean, does he fit in Pirlo's system? I don't think so. He doesn't, unless he plays the second striker. But I think Chiesa is what they're looking for. And Berdaneski might leave. Rugani already left. Kadir, Costa, etc. So, stay tuned. Transfer market ends October 5th. So, something is going to happen. Something will happen in the transfer market, and we'll see if Chiesa is actually going to leave. And most likely he will. Juventus will get rid of whoever they need in order to sign him. So stay tuned for Football Italia Network special if Chiesa does join Juventus. Football Italia Network is going to make a video about breaking down Chiesa, how many goals, how he plays, how he fits, and stuff like that. All right, Tifosi. You heard Ferrero, the Sampdoria president. See! But I'll tell you, I'm Sir Angelo. This is Football Italian Network. Stay tuned for Chiesa and any upcoming news about him. Transfer market ends October 5th. That is on a Monday. So all Juventus have just for the weekend to figure this out. All right, so Football Italian Network, subscribe, and I'm Sir Angelo, and Forza!